Hi there, Sarah from Standing Up to Scoliosis and the Scolio Temple. Just wanted to do a quickish video today about the scoliosis specific exercise programs. So I just read the latest version of the Schroth therapy book. So I've had the old book for ages, but yeah, the new book has got all the latest research and the sort of evolution of the exercise programs, and it does talk a bit about scientific studies, related to some of the other programs as well, and including, so there is some evidence in it, for all the programs a bit, and even chiropractic and some other sort of shockwave therapy, that you have to read through the book. There's like quite a bit of research in there. But basically the point I wanted to make in this video is a lot of people are saying, well, should I commit to paying out for this treatment course? Is it going to work for me? And, this book might explain a bit more about the evolution of it and how different programs differ slightly. But overall, first of all, lots of people are asking, why is there huge results in the original the Schroth, Katarina Schroth's book? Why are people not getting such dramatic curve corrections as in the original? So this book explains a bit about that to start with, and that one of the explanations this book gives is that that first of all, there's too many patients, 15 to one therapist, and it used to be a lot more one-to-one time they would get, and then some of the treatment procedures, when it's branched off to different places, have changed, or just different teachers have adapted and changed things slightly for some reason. So in the original Schroth, apparently there was big over corrections, they were really pulling to over correct, but apparently some branches have made it so that they only do small corrections to the midline, and then also the original Schroth was for kyphotic lordotic, big thoracic curves. So, this was adapted by Katrina's daughter, Christina, to suit thoracolumbar and lumbar curves as well. But the point the book was making was overall, the curves, there was a thoracic, a kyphotic element to the whole spine. And so big corrections were made, using those techniques to pull it back up again, But nowadays, apparently, we're seeing a lot more flat back scoliosis patterns, where for some reason there's a rotation where you're more flat backed, and that's me. So I've always looked at the Schroth. See, I'm not Schroth therapy trained. I'm a physio and a sports massage and all sorts of other exercise modalities, but I never, really got hugely pulled into Schroth, and I always thought, why not? And I am interested in it a little bit. I do find a lot of the exercises and concepts, that I've learned, from videos and the books and stuff, they do help me a little bit. But because I have a flat back scoliosis, so I'm hypermobile, and I was a ballet gymnast dancer, so I've got this lengthened flat back with this rotation. So I think, from what I know, all therapists struggle with hypermobility. They struggle with this hyperextension. When someone is just crushed down, bent over, they're injured, it's simpler. So if you go to a therapist and you've been injured, everything's, damaged, and then they try and, like yoga, they will lengthen you back out again. They will, the isometric, all these things it's just simpler. But when someone presents with this, why are they up there when they should be down here? It makes things a lot more complicated. So I really think you need to consider, is Schroth therapy right for me? So I'm not an expert. So this video is just to get you thinking and doing more research, really. So there's different, so now there is a Schroth therapy best practice program, is the latest evolution of all the Schroth therapies. So that apparently gets faster results, and it includes more functional movements to get you to fit it in with your everyday life. And apparently this is the best option to choose according to the Schroth latest book and the research. And I mean, there's not a lot of research done on it. So basically it costs a lot of money to do the randomized, the gold standard research which is needed. So the book is sort of saying that the reason doctors don't really refer or listen to it is because there are not enough studies of the gold standard or the high enough standard. And maybe there's not significant enough results for them as well, because the book was saying about like a sort of average 5-degree correction, which, surgery is like giving you much bigger correction than that. But then you look back at the original Schroth books and you're like, oh my God, that's huge corrections. Like, you definitely wouldn't need surgery for that. So what's changed? Like, so, I mean, someone else said to me that the cause of most scolioses back then was probably different. So apparently there was lots of people who caught polio, and the original Schroth was working on those type of scoliosis, and not flat backs, obviously. But yeah, it's also another thing I noted on the original Schroth was that she included a lot of psychological, like she made people feel understood and empathized with and held, on a psychological level. There was a lot of counselling and emotional, because Katerina had scoliosis herself. She could hold others. She had that emotional or spiritual capacity to really love and care and empathise. And I think that makes a big difference when you're working with someone with any kind of health condition. Any person can train as a therapist and learn the science and learn the mechanical treatments that work. But when you really love someone and empathise with someone and care about someone because they've gone through what you've gone through, it does make a big difference. That's my experience of going to see other therapists, is that I get the best results when I feel like someone really empathises and cares about me. But that's a bit woo-woo. That can't be measured scientifically, so we have to kind of avoid that topic of conversation, sadly. But yes, overall, you've got to pick the right program that works for you. So yeah, it seems like most of the Schroth, you really want to consult an expert and say if you've got hypermobility or a flat back, or I'm sure the exercises will work a little bit, but yeah. So because I find, because I'm ungrounded and I have this whiplash nervous system and hypermobility, I find that things that suit me better are things that ground me. And so I got interested in the PRI program and the embryology. And I liked doing things in water for a little bit, for a while as well. And I just, and somatics for a little bit. I got into things that grounded me and calmed down the nervous system and relaxed me. And, I'm into meditation a lot. But yeah, like once I have, and my fascial release. So a lot of mine is from a trauma, like this whiplash, and there's stuck tissue in my liver and organs. And so yeah, I mean, there are set exercises for set curves in the programs, but your curve, even though it's the same pattern as someone else's, might have a different cause. So just consider that the exercise might not work because you might have stuck tissue in your organs more, that the exercises aren't focusing on enough because they're focusing on more of the skeletal muscles, the external, muscles. So that's what I like about PRI, because it focuses on the organs a bit more and the natural patterns of the chain and how it all connects. And I think there's other functional patterns, but still, I mean, the organ stuff is harder to work on because it might, it probably needs more internal biochemical changes as well. So yeah, I think I've made my point. Research properly what each program does, speak to the therapist carefully, and choose what's right for you. Okay, peace out.